Should we have sessions for politicians looking to run for office? Should we make it a requirement that they go to Nasarawa State University and listen to professors like you guys, to talk on the ramifications of all these issues, to talk on the implications of what happens if you have a minimum wage, you don't have a minimum wage, you borrow, you don't borrow, you're not looking to raise IGR. Shouldn't they come regularly to have sessions and things like that?
It's my wish that we'll get to that point.
Yes.
At some point in our political history, following the last American elections.
Yes.
I realized that much of the campaigns were even done in universities.
Yes.
You found that time you would find Donald Trump going to university.
Yes.
You will also find Hillary Clinton.
Yes.
Addressing in the university community, because she knows that is where she can also get ideas from. So we need to get to that point, in Nigeria too.
Who should initiate that? Isn't the universities that should do that? To cause the politicians to understand that they need this, because I've always thought that we need a good degree of meetings between universities, the industrial,
yes,
the private sector,
yes,
and government.
Yes.
But because we don't have it. I mean, we don't have it on a regular basis. But I don't see the occasion where the private sector, universities, and government are talking.
A very good suggestion, and I'm all for it. You see, what the closest we even have now, you find the vice president every quarter, meeting with captains of, meeting with, the private sector.
Yes.
But that should also be expanded to also include members of their,
Yes, I think so.
From the academia.
So, yes.
Particularly, during this period, this political period, I expect to see Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, for example, going to University of Ibadan, to address them on his apart from going to stadia or going to coming for debates. I also expect President Muhammad Buhari to also go to universities,
yes,
and he could do that. He could just pick a university in a particular region,
yes,
6 regions. So, and of course,
but I don't want them to just go there and pontificate. I want them to go and support research and development at the universities,
yes,
so that you guys can have robust publications on these kinds of issues. So then you can distribute them at the National Assembly, state assemblies, to the executive, and people are tied to the thing. So I'm thinking that on the university and academia side, that you guys should force the issue in this wise.
Yes, I agree with you, because you discover that in a university you have all manner of experts,
yes,
in the academia.
Yes.
So if you find a top government official coming to the university to collect ideas, to
yes,
that will help. If you find the Senate leadership, for example, National Assembly, the executive arm, coming to a university, they could organize these things once in a quarter.
So the question is, how do we market Africa in a setting like this?
First of all, maybe if I may start, but I'd like to start by saying that Africa has indeed given the world something in terms of quality human resources. Okay. We have Africans, we've had Africans, and we do have right now that have served creditably well in very important institutions in the world. The Commonwealth, we had a Secretary General for 10 years, Chief Emeka Anyaoku.
Yes.
People like Professor Gambari at the UN, Emeritus Professor. We have had Ngozi Iweala, the former Finance Minister. And then if you look at other areas, you've had Africans like the young man who happens to be in Jalili, I think his name is, who was a car designer at General Motors.
Okay.
I think he's kindly come back home, the young man, to try and contribute.
Okay.
So, and then when you look at also the area of peacekeeping.
And these guys, you're talking mostly Nigerians now.
Oh, they're mostly, they are Nigerians, because they're the ones I know more than
Africans.
That's right, but the Africans are. And then in the area of peacekeeping, African countries, again, especially Nigeria, have sent military police personnel that have helped to keep the peace in quite a number of cases, paying the supreme price, some of the military personnel, and so on and so forth. And we have many medical doctors around the world of African descent, Nigerian descent, doing extremely well, scientists, engineers, and so on. So in that area, I think we have contributed something that should be commended. I believe.
So, these are individuals now. If we put them all together, do they come to a certain mark, a certain threshold? That we would say, okay, we are able to showcase a critical threshold of competent and global type individuals.
I believe so. Even though they're individuals, the sum total of their individual efforts could serve as a mentoring factor. Take, the respected novelist Chinua Achebe, our own Professor Wale Soyinka, the Nobel laureate. You see, it takes individuals to inspire. So you don't need the whole crowd. Look at late President Nelson Mandela. He set the tone. West Africa. People thought when he became president of South Africa, he'll exhibit some kind of vengeance, hatred, and then set the country on fire. But we know what he did. And he set the tone.
He did not do that.
He did not do that, So he set a very positive tone. Indirectly, it was like mentoring some other leader. I don't think African leaders really. I'm surprised, a bit embarrassed, in fact, that they are not patterning their activities along the tone that Mandela has set. So
and Mandela has been so widely respected
in the world up till tomorrow. There is no country or leader around the world, whether in the West or in Africa or Asia, that would not like to associate with Nelson Mandela. So we're very proud of that. But you see, in Africa, we've always been talking about potentials. Instead of potentials, the opportunities are there. We know what the problems are. We know what to do. So at the end of the day, Prof, I think our most basic problem is a disconnect between the leadership and the competence or lack of it, of the leadership at various levels and the populace, For example, again, I'd like to cite Nigeria. I think it applies to most African countries. We are not inventive. We are not inventive. Take the case of this oil, not oil, the crash, when President Buhari came on board, the crash of the oil prices. Exactly. I've gone from a little over $100 per barrel to around $28. I mean, so instead of Nigerians to be encouraged to become inventive. Now, I'm not talking about the president, I'm talking about Nigerians in general, our research institutions, our universities. Everybody is just waiting and hoping, the governors, everybody is just waiting and hoping for the oil price to...
But what could they have done?
No, they should become... So, in fact, that's why the federal government, I believe, you can see, is diversifying into agriculture. So you don't just sit down and say, oh, let's pray and hope that the price goes up again so that it will be the same. We are locked into a very vicious cycle.
So what are African leaders suspicious of all this help that we're getting from China?
No, I'm not sure.
Or we just take any
I'm
help?
Not sure.
Aren't you afraid that why is he giving me so much so easily? He does not have any conditions, no conditionalities. Anytime I ask, he gives it to me. Look, we're not worried about that.
Many years ago, there was a man who wrote a piece. I can't remember whether it was one of these former MD of one of the banks, whether it was a Bank of the North or First Bank, I can't remember. who actually did a piece to say that something close to saying only a foolish man will use his own money to build a house, that you go and get loan. Look, there's no businessman in the world today that does business without getting loans.
Yes.
So there's no way a country like Nigeria or any other country in the continent will go through life existence without getting loan from somewhere, whether from corporations, whether from countries.
Well, nothing wrong with that,
yes.
but the eagerness to provide the loan.
No, it's not,
without much.
No. I don't think
in terms of conditionality.
I don't think it's the eagerness. Yes,
it doesn't matter how corrupt you are. It doesn't matter what your history is of mismanagement. I still give it to you
because I guess they just wanted. Number one, you need to realize why the Chinese took that path.
Yeah, why did they take it?
Remember, like the Americans. The Americans were not they were not a colonizing power in the region. And when they came in, let's be honest with ourselves, they also came in with corruption. They had to bribe government officials all over the place to get a foothold in the continent. They had to actually also introduce these, extend the Cold War, to this part of the world in order to have a very strong footing in Africa. The Chinese are doing virtually the same thing, again, because we remain underdeveloped, and they are doing it in a different way by possibly saying, look, we're going to help you. We don't care. We are not interested in your ideology or the nature of your government or your people. What we just want to do, we want to do A, B, C, D, and this is what we want from you, A, B, C.
What do they want from us?
So they want our resources. They want the market.